fucking fighting again.
Well, welcome back to the Beer There Drunk That podcast. Maybe I'll leave that clip in of Keegan saying that he's gonna fight Luke. Lugan.
I'm gonna beat his ass. I'm gonna beat his ass.
We're already starting the podcast off strong, so
You're like that one couple that every time they show up to an event, they hate each other more.
I know a couple of those. It's quite awkward.
Yeah, one of them is me and Luke. Because every time I see his face, it just makes me angry.
How are we doing today, friends?
All right, how are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. I got to golf today. Didn't play too poorly. So it was
Did you
a good
play
day.
too
It's never
well?
a bad day when you're playing. Huh?
Did you play any well or just poorly?
That is, well, I played a little well. I had some nice shots, but playing too well is never, ever, ever, ever a concern for me. So we're all set on that front.
Didn't have guys from the tour coming out trying to get you on it.
Well, I actually am a professional amateur tour player now. So
Oh, you got the number? You gonna put it in your Instagram bio?
Professional amateur debut. The Five Boroughs Golf Instagram. They're doing a Five Boroughs golf tour. So me and my buddy Grant, this was our first round of that tour today. So you pay whatever $40 to be on the tour. You can compete for some prizes and stuff like that. So
way cool.
now this is the only podcast with two guys and a professional amateur golfer.
Wow. I have a PDGA number for disc golf. So not on tour.
Cool.
Listen, it's like $70 a year. It's fine.
Whoever visits who first, we gotta go play some disc golf because I am a big fan now.
There's there's a bunch of good courses by me. There's one like down the street from my current apartment that it's free and it's just a nice little wooded area.
I've been frothing once, and I feel if I go again, I'm gonna put a driver into Luke's neck.
Hey, you know what? If that's how I go, that's how I go.
I'm drinking a Blue Moon today.
Thank you. I was just gonna ask.
As the guys know, I am moving this week to a new apartment, so the beer supplies are low. I'm trying to not have more random shit to move this weekend. So I have a Blue Moon today. Just classic.
Boo.
It used to be a crap beer.
I like Blue Moons. I like Blue Moons. No,
I have
a
bit of a throwback that I haven't seen in a bit, but I have kept two for special occasions. I consider my time with the two of you each week a very special occasion. So I have the Genesee Specialty Dry Hopped Cream Ale.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming out.
Yep.
Haven't had that one in
Luke,
a while.
you know what I miss is the strawberry. They made like a strawberry lemonade one for a little while, right? The cream ale.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, they did. I completely forgot about that.
My cousins came to visit, and I think my cousin had it, and she loved it.
Oh, I miss that cream ale every day.
It was pretty good, but it definitely was not as popular as a lot of their specialty stuff has gotten, or seasonal stuff.
I feel like it didn't always get the respect it deserved.
I agree.
We're gonna have to talk to someone about that. Well, I have French toast by the campfire, and I can't.
Okay, but what beer?
Nice. I like this description. It's a snack-sized stout, conditioned in maple syrup, coffee, and cinnamon.
Love it. Oh man, that sounds good.
So
who brews it?
Hebrews.
1312.
Brewed and packaged by Timber Ales, North Haven, Connecticut.
Ooh.
Shout out New England.
So, indeed, as they do their pistachio cream ale, I'll drink a pistachio cream ale for my second beer. Actually, no, I got a fun one after that. You'll see.
I have a really fun one for the second. I can't wait.
But
all right, should we crack
they do it. No, they do it. Hold on. Actually, let's crack and then I'll talk. Let's crack.
All right, we need a drink. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, Sláinte.
Oh man, this is
pungent.
Yeah, it's I've had it for a little bit. Rotten. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
I packed up all my drinking glasses, so I'm using my draft top today.
Perfect.
I love that.
Yep.
Shout out draft top. I didn't use mine because I wanted to show off my new cork glasses.
But wait, if it's
Wow.
made of cork, how is it a glass?
It's a cork glass.
No, what I was gonna say is Indeed has their pistachio cream ale, and they do a lot of cream ales. But in the summer, they release like a cream ale variety pack. And this year, it looks like it'll be strawberry shortcake cream ale,
Ooh.
pine
Oh.
lime cream ale,
Wait, say that again. Pine as in the tree?
pine as in the apple, pineapple lime.
Pine.
It's called
Oh,
pine lime, but
oh,
it's pineapple lime. Um,
oh. You
blue
confused me for a
raspberry.
second. I was like, wait, I've heard of Empire, I've heard of Gala, never heard of a pine apple, and then I put it together. It's
And then
okay.
they
I
have
got it.
blue raspberry cream ale, which looks like a rocket
Ooh.
pop vibe there, and
Holy
then
crap.
pistachio. So I'm excited to
They're really
get
getting
that.
after the cream ales.
Dude, well, I didn't go and review it for this because I've had it before, but they have one. I've told you guys about it. It's old fashioned, like the cocktail cream ale. It's like
That sounds so
10%.
good.
It's awesome.
I wish they
That
did
sounds
more
so good.
cream ales around here.
I was gonna say the same thing. I had to go to 3 separate stores to find 2 cream ales. It was wild. I didn't know that it was such like a, I don't know, such a not as commonly produced thing.
They're huge out here is the thing. Like like Genesee Cream was like the gateway, I guess. It's like you
Well,
have Jenny Cream and then it balloons out to the Midwest.
you're also in the middle of dairy country, right?
Yeah, but they don't put lactose in these beers.
Oh, I know, but it's cream, so it counts as dairy.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
All right, who wants to go first?
I got a fun one to talk about.
Let's
All
hear it.
right.
So I got Kentucky Tangerine Cream
What?
from Lexington Brewing.
Wait. Okay.
Did you drink it too, Luke?
No,
I
you
did not.
didn't.
I didn't drink that one, but
Yeah.
I cannot believe that there's not.
They
If
have a
had
bunch.
seen
I had a different
Tangerine,
one in my cart at Total Wine.
Was it the vanilla?
Yeah, I
Oh
did.
my God, this is almost a tragedy.
Yeah. And then I saw these and I was like, this looks way more interesting. I'm gonna grab this. And so it's a cream ale brewed with natural tangerine flavors, aged in oak barrels, which I think is pretty cool. It looks like all of these Kentucky beers are aged in some sort of oak barrel.
Yep.
So I'm
So,
interested to hear what you'll have to say about their other beer, Luke.
so if I can go off the oak barrels for a second, Jameson, I did learn something very neat. So Jameson it's the barrels usually used by like they're usually the second stop of the barrel. So the barrel's made, it goes to somewhere like Kentucky, something like that, where they age it in those barrels, and then Jameson is usually the second fill of that barrel. And because
Really?
it's really the wood that gives it the flavor. Yeah, so I didn't know that.
Well, because for
Um,
bourbon, it has to be like a brand new charred
correct,
oak,
Right.
white
correct. So
oak
yeah,
barrel.
so
But
there's like
Irish
and there's
whiskey
like
does not have to
American
be
oak.
new,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah.
And so they either use like the American oak or European oak barrels to age it. So sorry, I interrupted you, Donnie.
No, that's really cool though. Like I'd never thought about that. Cool little can or bottle feature, I guess. They've got like the little horse logo embossed on the neck, which I think is really cool. You can see
Ooh,
that. Um, but yeah, they have a number of beers, Lexington Distillery. And I guess these cream type ales are one of their things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was like, this beer was interesting to me because it was such a creamy, like thicker mouthfeel, but it was clear, like crystal clear in the glass.
mm,
Like something like that, like a spotted cow is similar mouthfeel to that here, and it's like unfiltered and like so there's just yeast floating around. And it's really hazy. This was like I could see my hand through the other side. I said like it was like soft in the mouth. It was almost like it's like plush. It's like biting on a pillow or a stuffed animal. Uh, which is interesting.
interesting.
Um, and it tasted like a creamsicle, straight up. Like
Oh,
it was very mild orange tangerine flavor, and then it was more like vanilla ice cream along with it. And so it had that like creamsicle, classic ice cream dessert feel. And you did get like on the back end just that oaky barrelness. Like it's not you can't taste it like it's aged in a bourbon barrel, but there's some of that funk there that I like in beers. Um, So it was a really surprising and interesting beer. Like, I'm glad Luke and I didn't drink the same one.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And honest to God, if if that tangerine one had been in Beers of the World, I would have grabbed it.
I yeah. This one I only found in 6-packs. They didn't sell singles of it. So I've got 5 more if you want one.
I'll be right there.
Yeah. I gave it a 3.25 out of 5. It was something that like I would drink again, but it's definitely an occasional beer. This is like a fun tasting beer like to buy a single can of and like do like a bottle share or something with, but it's not a like I'm gonna go buy a sixer of this and drink them for the weekend,
Right.
you know. But I was impressed with it. I thought it was a very unique take on the cream ale, and it was like a lot of times a cream ale is not like doesn't taste like ice cream. This one did.
If you haven't had their vanilla barrel cream ale, I would recommend it.
Oh, so
Like you
you're just
said,
going now. You're just
no.
reviewing your beer.
Thanks for asking, Luke.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember
Teabag.
some of the others that you've had from them?
No, there was a couple that I saw though. Let me look it up online right now.
Because I've had their bourbon barrel ale. My dad and I have revisited this brewery a couple of times, like it in bottle form, not in person. But and then we've had their pumpkin ale, and I can't remember what else I had from them, but I definitely have had other stuff.
vanilla barrel tangerine cream.
I'll
Maybe
tell you,
those are
I'm
the only
glad
two cream ales that they have, but I've seen a bunch of their beers around.
They have definitely had more.
They have other beers, yeah, like they've got the pumpkin. They have an old fashioned bourbon barrel ale, so that's right up your alley. They've got an Irish red. They've got a bourbon barrel cocoa porter, which kind of sounds pretty good to me.
I might have had I might have had the Irish red, but I don't think that I've had the old fashioned. No, in fact, I can tell you for sure I haven't had an old fashioned uh beer of theirs of
Let's
any
change
kind.
that.
You've talked about it a couple, like, because which brewery is it around you that does that old fashioned one or has done that old fashioned one?
Indeed, like I was just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
again, Luke struggles with listening comprehension.
No, comprehension. I listen and then I have it for a second and then I lose everything.
And then
But
he
yeah,
gets dementia.
it was a cool beer. I liked it. I like I've like the whole thing about Wisconsin old fashions, right, Luke?
Nope.
Do you know about this, Keegan?
No.
So in Wisconsin, they don't make old fashions with whiskey.
What?
They make them with brandy.
Mm.
And
hold on, there's a name for that.
It's called the Wisconsin old fashioned or brandy old fashioned. And you go and they ask you if you want it sweet or sour, or you can get it like press or up. And so sweet means that they put Sprite in it, and sour means they put like grapefruit soda, like Squirt or something like that in it.
That's wild, dude.
What?
There's nothing more Milwaukee
What?
about that, I feel like.
It's all Wisconsin though. Like you can look up what a Wisconsin old fashioned. It's one of the weirdest things ever. Like,
oh shit.
Because I get like I kind of get into arguments with people because I like
shit.
An old fashioned's a cocktail. Luke's disappeared.
I think Luke shit his pants or something.
Yeah. But to me, it's not like, don't call it an old fashioned. You can call it something else, That's my opinion.
It's not. No, I was like, as soon as you said Sprite, I was like, oh.
Are they pretty proud of that? Like,
yes.
Name?
Yes.
In other words, we better not tell anybody that you've said this.
No, people know. I won't say belligerent, but I am vocal about it.
But we'll say belligerent for Saturdays for you.
Yeah. Like, I totally get using like rye or another type of whiskey, in an old fashioned. That's much more true. But the brandy is just, and the soda is what I don't get about it.
I think the soda is the weirdest part because I feel like you can still make a solid old fashioned with a lot of different types of whiskey. It changes it a little bit, but the soda is a little bit weird.
The soda makes it sound cheap, like putting a Like I don't know. I always looked at old fashions as like a yes, I feel I may have an old fashioned tonight as a bit of a nightcap or something like that. But it is
It's not
but
as
it's
classy. It's
yeah.
much more like it is a much more like drinking
Wisconsin.
cocktail versus a sipping cocktail, if that makes
Which
sense.
which actually I have a lot of respect for. I definitely fit that category for more than more than I fit like the fancy category, but
But yeah, if you just go to the bar here and you ask them for an old fashioned, they're gonna ask you sweet or sour.
That's very interesting.
It's it's crazy.
Wisconsin never ceases to amaze me.
The drinking culture is unique, I'll say that.
I love it. This though, I hope it's not like the old stories of New York that brought all the immigrants in, like the the road is paved in gold. Because my the bar is set now so high for me for whenever we go out to visit you that if I'm not handed a beer off the plane, I almost feel like I'd be a little disappointed.
I've been let down.
You can buy 12 packs of spotted cow in the airport. Like, and they
Okay,
Nice.
advertise it.
another myth I'll have to
Yeah.
prove.
It's like Luke's Bigfoot now.
Yeah.
Big
Luke, do you
beer.
want to go next? Because luckily we did avoid the greatest tragedy of our lifetime, which would be you two drinking the same beer on this podcast.
Yeah,
But since
we
you had a
almost had it.
cousin,
We almost had it. Like ran into that issue another time too. But Keegan had the forethought to reach out and be like, "Hey, did you get this beer? I can't even remember what it was."
it was the Ambers. It was the Rare Voss by Brewery Gang.
That's right.
It's
That's
still in
right.
my fridge. I haven't had it yet.
Well, have it, buddy.
Drink
Don't
that
tell me what to
shit.
do. Don't tell me what to
Drink
do.
that shit.
Yeah, so I visited the same brewery in bottle form and um I had it's the Kentucky Vanilla Barrel Cream Ale. If I had seen the tangerine, I would have 100% grabbed this because this is actually a revisit to this one, but I have not had this one in a couple of years. I had it I think one time previously. But it was a very nice revisit. It was nice to catch up.
Like an old
And
friend.
yeah, the vanilla in this beer is not overpowering, but it was definitely primary. And I remembered the barrel aging adding more to this beer than I got in this tasting. Um, so the wood likeness, if you will, did not stick out as much as I had initially thought it would, but it was still very, very good. Um, and it was I think this brewery has a really neat take on a cream ale and one that I would recommend to both of you. And I kind of mentioned that earlier. Um, so you didn't feel, Donnie, that your tangerine cream ale was overpowering at all?
No, there was not like the tangerine was very subdued. I would tasted more cream than tangerine.
See, See, it's tough because a lot of times when I have vanilla anything, it's some sort of cream, something like the two are kind of synonymous in my head sometimes.
Totally. You put vanilla when you make whipped cream, and
Yeah.
a lot of frosting creams are flavored with vanilla.
And I was kind of conscious of that in that I was able to pick out what not again, obviously there's no lactate in this. It's but I was conscious to separate those two sensations, if you will. And I enjoyed this a lot. I gave it a 4 on Untapped, or I will. I actually haven't posted it yet, but
Slacker.
it's funny because barrel aged anything in the same sentence as crisp and almost refreshing is I feel like rare.
I totally
Um,
agree. And I agree with this too, is it was you get barrel aged flavor, but it's not heavy.
Not heavy at all. I think the body of it is just so unlike any other barrel age. And this sits in a barrel for like 2 months. So it's not in there for a day. but
It's like
it's
PBR
very,
whiskey,
very
which
good.
is barrel aged for like 3 seconds or something like that. I'm not
They just
kidding.
rinse out the barrel with it.
You just look up PBR whiskey and they make it.
Good
I'm
God.
seeing you next year. Your home sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's what I got.
All right. So I guess I'll go because that's naturally the order of the way this show works if you haven't been listening. So I'll start with this one. This is Renewal. You can kind of see the can. It's kind of sick. It's a dragon on there.
Ooh.
Like an Ouroboros where it's eating its tail, right?
A what now?
An Ouroboros
Or I don't know what an Ouroboros is.
is the
It's like
dragon eating its own tail.
interesting.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that's like it's
Yeah,
like
it
a
is.
symbol of like constant like life and rebirth and something like that. It's like life is a circle.
That's a
Ouroboros was
lovely
my
message.
nickname in high school. Go on.
Luke was just constantly chewing on his hand, like he had like at least 3 more fingers before
I
high
was,
school, and
I
then
was
just
a
did the
nail
big
biter.
one. So this is from Strong Rope Brewery. It's in Brooklyn, New York. Shout out Brooklyn. 4.5% cream ale. So this was not my favorite beer. I gave it a 2.75.
Oh,
I think it's not a bad beer. For me, it's a free beer kind of beer. Like I'm not gonna go buy this beer again. If someone gifts it to me, it'll get drank at some point. But probably towards the back of the fridge. Really the most prominent things in it are really like a malty flavor. There's a little bit of hoppiness to it, but like malt is really the biggest thing, but not like that nice like roasted malt that you had again with my preference towards darker beers. It's not that like roasted malt. It was just like kind of almost like if you just picked up a handful of malt and chewed on it was kind of that was kind of the flavor that I got from the beer.
holy cow.
It was pretty carbonated, but it was still pretty crisp, which I did enjoy. That helped bring up the score a little bit. But one of the interesting things for me, like outside of the malt, there wasn't really like a prominent flavor. Like maybe some nuttiness, maybe honestly, like it was a really complex thing to taste. Like usually when I'm tasting these beers, like I can like I'll sit down, I'll have some sips, I'll really think about them. This literally took me the entire beer to like be able to like form an opinion about it. So that for me is why it sits back a little bit. Like it's not even that it was lacking a forefront flavor. It's just that like I don't know, there wasn't really anything to separate is how I'll say it, I guess.
It didn't have an overwhelming characteristic or like something that peeked through. I
Correct.
I I I can relate to that in some of the beer that I've had, and it honestly it's very reminiscent of some of the cheaper beer out there.
Yeah,
Like
it's
where
like
it,
Yes,
it takes
absolutely.
you it takes
Like
you a while to pinpoint exactly what you're tasting. Like
Mhm.
when I had that when I had the beer that I really liked that I said finish like a handful of roasted peanuts, it
mhm.
took me like I was probably halfway through the beer and I was like, and maybe it's because it warmed up a little bit, but I'm like, this tastes like honey roasted peanuts. So I totally
Yeah,
get
it's
what you mean.
yeah, it was just honestly it was just hard to kind of pick something out. And it like I mean when you're drinking it, you're like, yeah, this tastes like beer. It's kind of was the best way to describe the taste of it. So that maltiness. But um yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with something tasting like beer.
there's not. That's why I always give beer one. Even that dill pickle sour that Caitlin made me try that tasted like straight up pickle juice didn't taste like beer, but it was beer, so I gave it a one. So
And we
there's nothing
respect you
wrong
for
with
that,
beer
Keegan.
tasting.
Well,
There's nothing
I
wrong with beer.
if you have your hopes set on getting something else out of a beer or getting some tangible flavor out of it, and then you get just your standard beer, you can't really put your tongue on what you're looking for, to use that phrase that I love so much that Donnie used last week. You can't really put your tongue on what you're tasting. It's like it can be a little disappointing.
It is, and that's I don't have. I'm sure they have other great beers that like I'd be interested in trying, but like when you're tasting it for the reason of trying to break it down, you're like, I I don't really have anything to stand on. Like it's just kind of it's beer? Question mark. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah. I'm beer.
Yeah.
No,
So
I totally get
yeah,
that.
that was me.
I like that though, it's sometimes you just have to have like a basic beer, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. But at the same
Well,
time, it's like I understand you're like coming at this. Like I always look for like complex beers that like look and sound complex
Yeah,
when I'm
that
drinking
you
something
wanna
new.
try to pick apart. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
and it's tough too because at least in my opinion, now my entire life revolves around like if I'm grabbing a cream ale, I'm going to compare it in my head to Jenny Cream Ale. Like I feel like we've been spoiled with a really consistent and beautiful cream ale that's the staple of many grandpas and great uncles and dads
And
and Lukes.
Luke's. Nice. Nice.
Men named Luke around the world clamoring
They
for more
all
Jenny Cream.
Lukes unite, and it's just a bunch of Lukes holding up Jenny Cream Ale. Yeah,
No, totally. I mean, like, did I ever tell you guys the story? I was at Indeed for trivia one night. It was me and Sophie. Her parents were there, and then two of her parents' friends who I had met before. And I'm sitting at the end of the table with her parents' friend, and we're talking. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I really like the cream ales here. I'm like, oh yeah, we used to drink this cream ale in college all the time. He's like, yeah, like where I grew up, like, we had Genesee Cream Ale. And I'm like, that's from where I went to college.
That's
Turns
the
out he's
one.
from Webster and lives out here.
Oh, I remember you talking about that he was from Webster,
Yeah,
but
he's
I love that
I
it all
think
comes back to beer.
that
yeah.
might have been the first episode of the podcast that you talked about that.
And maybe we were just talking about beer otherwise, and it felt like a podcast. I can't really remember. I
No,
probably
that's
Well,
have told
fun.
that story before, though. It was very funny.
that means you need a water if you can't remember.
Well, I have beer flavored water.
Yeah, there we
Sorry, guys, I packed up all
Like,
my water.
okay, all right. I mean, honestly, like there's not in Guinness, for example, 95% water. So you're basically drinking water when you drink Guinness.
Love it.
So we're hydrating all the time on the show.
However, when you look at something like Coors Light, it's 99.99% water.
So, fun fact about Coors Light. So, Molson Coors is like headquartered here in Milwaukee. Um, that's where, and Molson Miller Coors, so that's where they make, like, that's the tour I went on.
Mhm.
They can make Coors Light here in Milwaukee, but they can't make Coors Banquet. And do you know why?
Why?
Because Colorado has a trademark on it or something.
Because it uses Rocky Mountain spring water to make Coors Banquet, and it says there right on the can
Well, what the
Oh,
or
Rocky
the
Mountains,
bottle.
of
damn.
course, and people really don't know this, but the Rocky Mountains do pass through Milwaukee, just through
They
center
used to. They
downtown.
they migrated.
They shifted a little
But
bit.
yeah, so they can't
Over
make.
hunting.
Yeah, yeah, they can't make. They can make like all their beers except Coors Banquet here, which is crazy.
That's wild.
I mean,
Not that I give a crap at all, because I'm not going to let Coors Light touch my mouth.
we're talking about Coors Banquet. Settle
Oh,
down,
no, no,
Luke.
you're right. I'll have. Oops, mom's calling.
Sorry, Mom,
Let's put it
ranting about
on speakerphone.
Coors Banquets.
Let's put her on speakerphone. Get her on the pod. First guest on the pod.
Yeah.
No, hey, and multiple people have told me this. Donnie, the first guest on the podcast should be Sophie if she's
Oh,
willing.
I will try my best.
If she does not
I
want to, we won't make her. But
Her dad listens to the podcast, so he
shout
can
out Sophie's dad,
shout out Don.
Don John Julio Patron Jones, the man.
That's his name.
don't wear it
That's his
out.
full legal name.
Wow. How'd you? Yeah, you want to list his address too, Keegan, or what?
Yeah, he lives on 626 Luke smells like farts Avenue.
And that's all hyphen.
Yeah. They started adding
all,
hyphens to roads. They
all
ran out of those
lowercase, too.
characters.
All lowercase.
Coincidentally, it's also my website.
We gotta make a website.
That costs money.
Yeah. Listen,
yeah,
we're not at the point where we're getting tons of sponsors yet, okay?
well, I mean, we're printing out merch soon.
We're working on it.
We got a
Whoa,
sticker guy,
oh,
so.
one sec.
Oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah, I'm having all sorts of
Well, why don't we just take a break, Luke?
Let's take a break. Yeah, let's give Luke a chance to wipe himself and figure things out.
See you
all
soon.
right, hang on. All right.
Welcome back to Beer There Drunk That. Keegan's drinking motor oil, and I've got something fun for this episode.
What is it?
I've got Indeed Brewing Company Imperial Pistachio Cream Ale.
Whoa! Boom,
Hey,
Which they only sell in pints. They don't sell it in they don't have it on tap, and they don't sell it on like smaller cans. It's just the big boys.
hey, you gotta let the big dogs eat.
Big boys gotta eat.
Big boys gotta eat.
Nah, Luke, come on.
No.
You got more in you than that.
The people aren't ready.
They we're gonna
My
have to
people
get them
need
ready.
me.
We're gonna have to get them ready.
Yeah.
I do want to show you guys my beer too. So I saw this beer at Vinyl Beer Co. and I had to get it. So it's called the Ultimate Indulgence. And it looks like Ultimate Warrior on the front, which is pretty dope.
Oh, that's
But it's
cool.
an imperial stout with marshmallow and peanut butter. So for all my
Holy
New England people, it's a
Fluffernutter.
fucking fluffernutter beer.
Fluffernutter.
A
Fluffernutter, kid.
fluffernutter.
Wicked awesome. It's a Fluffernutter, kid.
I haven't had fluff in years.
I got a jar in the pantry. I made whoopie pies for a work thing. Like a month or so ago. So you gotta have fluff for your whoopie pies.
I mean, you have to.
No.
I have a
Well, we didn't really ask you, Luke. So
Keegan Martha Rydelic.
That's his maiden name.
I have a Sitmo IPA. It's an IPA with Citra and Mosaic hops from Resurgence Brewing Company, which people may remember is one of my new favorite breweries.
I gotta find that beer I had when I went over the summer, when the Blue Jays were playing in Buffalo. It was like I can't remember. It was a fruity beer.
Of theirs?
Yeah, they had it like in cans there.
Actually, I completely forgot to mention this. My cousin Aaron reminded me. So I had talked about how I went to Resurgence, like their brewery in downtown Buffalo. And you guys remember how I had that sponge candy stout from them that I loved so much?
Yes.
Turns
Yeah,
out
I
that
could
wasn't
try
the
it.
first time that I loved it. Apparently, I had it in
Wow.
my tasting when I went there, but I had no memory of it. So I rediscovered it and fell in love with it. So
That's such a beautiful message. That's like in a movie when, there's a couple and the one person gets like, brain dead in a car accident. Actually, it's 51st Dates is literally what it is.
51st beers.
51st beers. Luke, you have brain damage.
yeah, obviously.
You're Drew
Famously.
Barrymore. You're Drew Barrymore, and that sponge candy is Adam Sandler. That's a beautiful message.
Well, the best was I brought one of those to include in the tasting at our Christmas tree burning that my aunt and uncle host every year. And so I brought multiple tasting beers. And I know people had some questions about the sponge candy stout. So I'm like, oh yeah, I had this for the first time on the podcast and that, and so Aaron, my cousin, points it out, and I'm like, holy crap, I completely forgot about it. And so then we're like, we do our cheers, my dad, uncle, and Aaron's husband Matt, and we start drinking it, and I'm like, oh my god, I love this. This is the first time I've had this.
And that's why I started doing like recording beers and Untapped. Not that I like care to use another form of social media, but I just want to remember what I've drank. And so that way I can be like, oh, I didn't love this, or oh, I have had this before.
Yeah, it has become a really helpful tool because I'll go through Beers of the World, which has so much stuff. But at this point, like I've fished through those aisles so many times that sometimes something will stick out to me. And I'm like, this seems vaguely familiar. And I'll just check in with Untapped real quick, make sure I haven't had it yet.
Yeah, before Untapped, Luke was just using a marker on his arm, and he ran out of space. So
Yeah. He had a wireless tattoo gun.
every time he drinks it, he just tattoos the beer name on his arm. I love that.
Sir, you just have Genesee Cream Ale tattooed over and over and over again on your arm.
Oh, yeah.
51st Jenny Creams.
There you go. This beer is good, but I'm gonna feel like a balloon for the next 3 days. Is what it feels like too.
This just tastes
Oh,
like
that's
pistachio
interesting.
cream ale. It's like, I guess, a little bit boozier. I mean, what, this is 8% ABV? I don't know. I bought it just so I could have one of the cans, in my can collection. But it's
Always
good.
worth it.
I mean, like, I don't know if,
Oh
like,
shit!
I would just say, oh, yeah, only drink the Imperial. Come on. Like,
I mean, I mean, probably should only drink the Imperial. This is a 10.5%.
Holy
Wasn't
crap.
expecting that.
good for you, Keegan.
What am I? I'm only at
Oh,
6.5%. I'm behind.
get your numbers up.
Yeah.
Grow a pair. Maybe
Imperial
grow up a little bit, Luke.
Tuesdays.
Yeah,
Imperial
exactly. Imperial Tuesdays at BTDT.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first for their second beers?
I guess I'll just go because I went
All right.
first last time.
Go for it.
My next beer was called Bee's Knees. It's a honey cream ale from Vintage Brewing Company in Madison, Wisconsin. It was a solid beer. I like this beer. It was kind of like your first one, Keegan. It was no frills. I'll say the honey part of it was cool because it made it finish like a drier mead. Like it felt a little drier on the tongue,
Ooh.
like a mead. But it was just that light honey. Like I always talk about the honey sweetness, but you know what I'm talking about. It's that natural, wholehearted sweetness that you can't really get from anything else. That's why I love honey so much. It was very hazy. It looked like a mead of sorts, almost like it. As a cream ale, as I normally think of them, they're usually relatively hazy. Including this one right here. This one's actually pretty clear, but you get the point. It looked almost, I would say, like past mead to the point of like it looked like honey. It had that like sheen to it. Yeah, it was like it felt like a cream ale in the mouth. It was like, what was the Jenny tagline? It was like crisp like a lager, smooth like an ale, or something like that. And that's
Sounds right.
how I feel. It was crisp and smooth with a little more complexity on the tongue than you would normally have from like a beer.
I love that for you.
I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. It was just a solid beer. Like it was no frills.
That's
It was a
again
beer
that
like
like
if it's around, I'll drink it. I'll go back to it. But I'm not gonna be swayed strongly in one way or the other. I'll recommend it to people.
I'll tell you that like 3.25 to like 3.75 pocket. It's just like it's solid beer. We talked about hitting singles last week. Like those are beers that you lead off with. That's your lineup. Like you put them at the one spot, they're gonna get on base.
It's something you can go and order and you're not gonna be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it's not gonna really tilt you either way. Be like, oh, like I'm on this kick tonight, or like, wow, I didn't like that. It's gonna get the job done. You're gonna enjoy it. Like this one says, what's the buzz? Honest toil and local bounty yield sweet rewards, bright, crisp, and true. The perfect way to toast a busy day.
Yep,
And
there
I
you
love
go.
that.
And that's absolutely.
I
Luke, after you, I'm going next. I'm sorry, I cut you off too. What were we gonna say?
Go ahead, Keegan.
I don't think it's what you're gonna say.
Nope.
We'll talk about this at home. We'll talk about it at home. So my second beer was actually great because I tasted it yesterday when the national championship was on. It's called Beer for Hoops, and so it's by Off Color Brewing, which is also Luke's nickname. Um, and so it's a 5% cream ale with what they say is cream ale with peach puree and vanilla beans added. And I think it's very true to the way they described it. Vanilla and peach were the absolute stars of the show with this beer. Um, it wasn't as so the renewal that I had was like really carbonated, but still was able to be crisp. This was crisp, but wasn't overly carbonated, which I enjoyed a little bit more. Um, I wrote on my untapped notes. I said it had light mouth feel. So it didn't feel like a heavy beer, but I still wouldn't consider it a Moorish beer. This would be a beer like maybe I'll have a couple of, and I'm like I'm good. I can put it to the side for a little bit. Yeah, honestly, like as you guys know, I love fruity beers as a fruity guy. So the peach kind of coming out strong for me was a nice way to drink this beer. I gave it a 4.25 on Untapped.
Ooh,
So
high praise.
I did enjoy this beer. Would definitely drink it again.
I love peach in beers. I think peach is one of the perfect fruits to put in a beer because it's not overpowering, it's nice, it's sweet, it's refreshing. And I think it goes with, just about any style of beer.
Actually,
Yeah,
I
and
agree. I agree with you 100%. Also, I'm not opposed to pineapple and stuff. But of course, we're not talking about pineapple right now. We're talking about peach.
thanks for bringing it back, Luke. I was
Yeah, no
lost for a
problem. I'm
second.
sorry. I almost got us off track, but I've been working on my listening skills.
I'm
Now the
so proud of
talking
you.
ones.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a good beer. I have a sour in my fridge right now that I'm waiting for. Like I found this beer, and I'm literally just waiting for Sour Week, so I can drink this beer. And I guess I'll explain why when I get there. But a little bit of pineapple, mango. I think Donnie, I think peach is in the same
Ooh.
class as kind of the mango that you mentioned with your ideas.
Hmm.
I think it's an underutilized flavor. I like it a lot.
I think Lakefront out here has a peach mango wheat beer right now that I haven't tried yet. That I'd like to get out to the
Oh,
chat room and try sometime soon.
that's that sounds nice. The
I
chap room. What is the chap room?
Tap room. Sorry, I
oh.
stumble.
Mm.
Chap
Oh,
room.
I'm
It's
sorry. I
it.
wasn't.
Your
Wow.
lips are dry.
Well, now I look like an asshole, and I wasn't trying to
Bunch
be an
of
asshole. I was
dry
actually.
lipped sissies.
All right, Luke. I'll give you permission to talk about your beer now.
Thank you, Dad. Keegan. Thank you, Keegan. So my second beer, actually, I was going to start with because it's not as exciting as the first one that I had. No, as exciting as the first one that I covered. But this is Prison City Brewing, which I had their Wham Whams, if you remember. Wham Whams.
Wham, wham.
This is their cream ale. It's called cream ale, and
Can you spell
it
that for us?
it was it was quite good. I rated it a 3.25. It was something that I had at the perfect time because I had just come in and I had it earlier today actually. I had just come in from working outside in my yard. So it wins points in my book because it approached the lawn mowing beer category, which eventually I imagine we'll have a rousing discussion about.
Now that
I
I
think we
have
Um
have to.
a lawn to mow at my new apartment, I'm
Oh,
excited for that.
congrats.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club. And Keegan has about 7 acres in the middle of New York City that he has to mow, so he knows exactly what we're talking about.
He is
Yep,
constantly
I
harassed
know.
by the New York social elite to sell it so they can put in another coffee shop in Brooklyn somehow.
Hey, I take care of Central Park. What can I say? I do the job.
He's an American hero.
Yep.
Very crisp, very simple. It was that familiar light bread taste, and something sweet like honey, but it wasn't honey. I really couldn't figure it out actually. But it was very good. I felt it was a very standard cream ale that it does not rise to the level of Jenny Cream Ale, but it got the job done. And it's a perfect beer for someone that wants to branch out but likes lighter beer. It was very good. I was very happy with it.
I mean, let's be honest though. Is anything, especially for you, is anything ever gonna broach Jenny Cream Ales? I feel like that's an
That's what I was
unattainable
just about to
level.
say.
Yeah, it is an unfair, it's definitely solidified in my head as one of the kings of beer because I have very fond memories of walking down the street, which of course like multiple houses on the street in the old First Ward in Buffalo, the Irish ward, still has my family in it. But my great uncle Mikey, I have fond memories of walking up to him right outside of his house, getting ready for the parade, and he'd be sitting in his chair. He'd have a cigar in his shirt pocket, and he'd have a Jenny Cream Ale hanging around his neck in this like beaded necklace thing with a shamrock on it. It's just
Hmm.
very, very fond memories, and uh, that's how I strive to be Great Uncle Mikey when I grow up.
Well, let me tell you, that's a familiar image. I've seen that. I've seen you look exactly like that. So,
The thing, like, I love Jenny Cream. I think as we've all expressed before. The thing is, like, my dad and his brothers, like, remember the old Jenny Cream Ale from back in the day, like, when it was just the big green can. And, like, anytime I buy it and, like, bring it around, they're like, oh, get that away from me. No, no. And
Jenny Screamers.
yeah, that's what they think of. And I'm like, it's not that anymore. It's not your father's Jenny.
Yeah,
Like,
but see, they remember they remember the diarrhea that would come from the Genesee River that they I'm sure pull the water from. But now it's a delayed diarrhea. It's perfect.
yeah, they've somehow they have like encapsulation technology. So that way the laxative properties don't hit you until about 4 a.m.
Exactly. And usually it's exactly 4 a.m.
Yep.
But I wouldn't change a thing.
No,
No, I love
that's
it.
part of it.
Instead of getting shit faced with Jenny, we get ass shitted with Jenny. And I'm
Okay.
happy to do
Oh
it
my
every day.
God.
I'm happy to do
Oh,
it every
good
day.
Lord.
I'm gonna get you Genesee Cream Ale printed toilet paper, Keegan. One ply.
One ply, yeah.
One ply.
Oh
Oh
God.
God.
I'll have to go through
Jeez.
7 rolls of it after having my fair share of Jenny.
Well, and out here they only they serve it. They only sell it in 30 packs. So like you got to buy a case of Jenny if you want it.
When we were I think I talked about it last week too. But when my friends came down and we did a brewery tour of like Brooklyn, New York City, we actually that Kings County distillery that we went to, the one that was like a dungeon, like medieval thing.
Where you had to cross the
They,
river to go to the bathroom.
exactly, with the old guy pushing the boat. Yep.
Yeah.
So so that one right next to it is the Wegmans in Brooklyn. So of
Okay.
course Emily was like, not having Wegmans in Chicago. Can we go? Can we go? Can we go to Wegmans? So I was like, all right, fine. And what do I see when I walk down the beer aisle? Because I mean, we have a beer podcast. We're gonna walk down the beer aisle.
Of course.
I see a 12 pack of Jenny Cream Ale, and I was like, well, I don't need a 12 pack. and then I see a pounder of a Jenny Heavy, a Jenny Red Eye.
Oh,
And so I paper bagged that motherfucker on the way to the next brewery because I said,
God.
I'm not leaving that on the shelf. I'm not
It needs to
leaving it
be
on the
drank.
shelf.
Drink that shit.
Drink that shit.
My uncle David this weekend at the Christmas tree burning goes he goes, hey, there's this Jenny beer that I've been seeing in the gas stations that I've been waiting to try with you. It's called Jenny Black.
Oh,
What?
they still make that? I thought
What?
They
they've
do.
removed that. I thought
It's
that
like
was like a recall.
$1.30 or something like that. But the
Oh
best
my
was I've
God.
heard him mention it a couple of times. He's so funny. And so he goes, have you had this before? I go, yeah, that was like one of the cheap beers that we would grab from the gas station in college. I said I have very fond memories of that 8% Jenny product. That's Jenny heavy. And
My
Yeah,
it's just
that's
it
a
was
health
great to
hazard.
revisit it. Yeah.
uh
That's a health hazard.
when my cousin and her now fiance came and visited me over the summer when I was in college, we went to the J Brew House, and my cousin's dad, my uncle, like texted her, like she texted him like, "Hey, like we're at the Jenny Brew House, like she's like, do you want me to bring you back any beer?" And he was like, "Yeah." Like he texted her like a list of like, I think he wanted like 3 crowlers or whatever, and one of them was Jenny Black. And like I just remember like the waiter like at looking at him like her like, I don't think they sell that anymore. Like I thought that stuff was a health hazard. Like
You want to talk about drinking motor oil?
that's and then the other one is was it Jenny Ice?
Oh
Oh my
my
God,
god.
dude. You know what Jenny Ice makes me think of is Keystone Light
Oh, it's the
because
same energy.
Yep.
it is. Because TJ, when we were at Bailey Road, used to just go, or no, actually, it wasn't Bailey Road. He grew up before we got to Bailey Road. But like freshman, sophomore year, TJ would just drink Keystone Light. Like, would get 12 packs of Keystone and just pound them. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
$3 for a 12-pack is great.
it is
Ugh.
when you're paying 25 cents a beer, I guess you can't go wrong, but there's got to be a limit, right? Somebody's got to have some
Yeah.
self-respect here.
That's just the fact that people willingly do that. Like again, I've been in my volume drinking modes before, but it's like drink something. I will say a funny story of a buddy of mine who lives out here. He actually went to RIT, but I think it was like one of the COVID summers. He was like working at a restaurant. He's like I was drinking like 5 PBRs a night. He's like, at the end of the summer, I found out that PBR was not a light beer.
That yeah, that is not.
They
Yeah,
make PBR light.
my go-to drink during COVID was actually I've got it right here. It was the Iron Smoke Distilling's Rattlesnake Rosie's Apple Pie
That is good.
whiskey. I would put one of those square whiskey ice cubes in a glass, and then I'd pour this. And that was election season at the time, and so I was all sorts of stressed out. So I would just end my night in my recliner with that. That was I needed to move to beer. It was a
And for those
good,
of you that don't know, it was just election season, so Iron Smoke Distillery is doing very well right now, thanks to Luke single-handedly.
yes. Yes. Yep. I'm sure I'm named on a plaque somewhere in their place in Fairport. Which have either of you gone there?
I
Yeah,
did. I went on a whiskey tour, not a whiskey tour, like a brewery tour that we went to Iron Smoke, for Mixer's birthday one time, and yeah, it was a blast.
I went my last semester of college, the Institute of Packaging Professionals, which I was on the board of in
Whoa.
college for the student chapter, was having their like their yearly fall happy hour there, like kind of their type of like back to school happy hour. And like so like they invited all of us board members. They're like, "Hey guys, like we know you guys are all old enough to drink, like you're more than welcome to come." And so I think me and one other guy went, and I remember that was the first night I had my online Zoom yoga class. So I called in from my phone and listened to like the yoga instructor read the syllabus. I was just like sitting in the corner of this whiskey distillery.
Donnie
It
was
was a
doing downward dog in the middle of Iron
no,
Smoke.
she just like read the syllabus and like told us what was up, and I'm like, yeah, you can go fend for yourself and talk to these old heads. But it was cool,
Well,
like drinking with the professors and stuff like that. It was fun.
that reminds me of the hiking class that I took as one of my wellness courses at RIT, but it was during COVID, so we had online hiking.
I remember we would go for walks with you, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
"Hold on, I need to take a picture of this leaf."
Oh wait,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
went through Highland Park, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Oh my
Like, hold on, I gotta
gosh,
get
I
the squirrel.
forgot about that.
I had to get like a certain number of species. Honest to God, though, it was an absolute blast. But yeah, there were, I guarantee half the people in the class were not actually walking at any point.
But you know what, Luke? You put in the work,
I did.
and
I'm
I'm
in
proud of
the
you for
peak
that.
physical. I'm in peak physical shape right now, as I have my 5th beer
Yeah,
of the night.
But that being
yeah,
said, you are
yeah.
someone who likes
I'm with you.
hiking and likes going out and
Yeah.
exploring the wilderness like that. Like, it is a very good class that would have been cool to do like in a real classroom setting. And I think that's cool about RIT, that the fact that it's a school for nerds, but they also make you do phys ed.
Yes.
Did you know though that like you probably got this question, Keegan, when we worked in admissions? Like people would ask me all the time if there was a swimming requirement. And it was
I never got questioned about a swimming requirement. That's
because
interesting.
a lot of like like upper echelon schools, not that RIT is in the same category as these schools, but like the Ivy Leagues and stuff make you pass like a swimming test. Like you have to like tread water for 10 minutes and like swim X number of laps overhand or something like that. Like that's a requirement
What?
to
Oh my
graduate.
gosh.
And like I remember like kids would
What?
ask me this and I'm like, and I looked at them like, what? And their moms would be like, yeah, like we just toured to Penn State last week and like they're like have like a swimming requirement. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like
No,
you can take a swimming class here if you want.
I used to love swimming, but I will forever be indebted to my one of my best buddies, Killian, who you all know,
shout
the
out Killian.
lovable goofball, for getting me out of swimming for multiple semesters in high school. And you know, at this point, I don't think any of my gym teachers are listening, but
I'm sending
yeah.
this to them.
Coach Fagan is
So gonna
listening right
just
now,
take
Luke.
this clip and send it over to the coaches. Sorry, but I don't regret it at all. I was able to miss swimming in high school for all but one. No, there were a couple of classes that I wasn't able to miss it for
For what
whatever.
reason? Like
I
but
don't remember genuinely. It was
you just
maybe
remember Killian
Killian
would get
wasn't
you
there to
out.
rescue me.
I enjoyed swimming. We got to do like I just played pool basketball most of the time, I feel like.
I
It was
didn't
pretty
even know they
dope.
offered that.
My high school did not have an aquatic center. I didn't even take gym in high school. I took more gym classes in college than I did high school.
To be fair, we didn't have an aquatic center. we
Yeah, no.
yeah.
We had a yeah. I
We
don't
had
even know
some
what to call
water
it.
collected in
Yes, we had an oversized bathtub.
No, my high school, I felt like because I was a whatever, I did 3 sports every year, and so if you did 2 sports in the same school year,
Ooh.
I know 3 sport athlete. I got the letters to prove it. But if you did 2 sports in the same school year, that would count as like a PE credit. So
Oh,
what the hell?
that's awesome.
yeah,
Actually, I opted out of gym class a lot though.
just
I
cause
got
or
it.
what?
I had to like no well so playing sports like you can opt out. You just had to do like a writing assignment instead.
Right
Which is
about
kind
what you wish you were doing at gym. I'm throwing the basketball.
of bending my knees,
Straight arm,
aiming.
gooseneck pancake. I'm watching Damian Lillard film.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God. Yeah, I'm good and full.
Well,
I'll tell you.
I'm good and about to spin this wheel.
I think that's a good idea. Let's spin the wheel.
Let's see it.
So I get my question. Actually, I can do my question, Luke, while you're spinning.
Yeah, in case I need to spin it a couple times.
Wait, what does that say?
Brown
ale.
Oh, baby, brown ale.
Oh, baby, brown ale.
All right, Kevin's gonna be listening. My dad loves a brown ale.
Shout out, Kevin. So, question of the week. You're at a bar, right? Let's set the scene. It's a great bar. One of the best you've seen.
Lovely beers.
Really just
Great
fantastic.
bar. I'm a big
Beautiful
fan of this bar.
But it's not that great because it doesn't have craft beer. So the question is, craft beer is not available. Would you rather order a liquor drink or a macro beer?
Oh.
All right. Liquor or a macro beer?
Like a mixed drink.
You brought or you
yeah.
Well, never mind.
I guess no, I'll say however you want to interpret liquor drink is up to you. It's a drink with liquor, with or without the mixers, because like not everybody likes to drink mixers straight up. So it's up to you. It's up to you. But liquor or a macro beer.
By
What, Luke?
mixers straight up, do you mean just a Coca-Cola?
Orange juice. Yeah. Yep. Just orange juice.
What was it like? What was it? I think it was in like Big Bang Theory or something when they took Sheldon to a bar for the first time. He was like, "I'll do a virgin Jack and Coke."
So you just want to go. That was Luke at his lemonade stand that he had. He's like, "What can I get you?" I'll say Jack and Coke. He's like, "All right, Coke coming up."
Oh, okay. Wait, I want to share this. I didn't know when it was going to be relevant ever, but I feel like it's relatively appropriate right now.
Do you want to double check that?
Freshman year of college, we're drinking in our room, Keegan.
Yep.
And I'm talking with I think it was Matt. I'm talking with Matt.
Yep.
And we're just shooting the shit. And
as one
you
does.
asked me if I wanted a screwdriver. And I said,
nope. Let's stop. I think we should stop the story. I think we should stop the story because I know exactly
you asked me if I wanted a screwdriver, and I said, yeah, that sounds great. So I went back to talking with Matt. I don't think anything of it, and you hand me a solo cup, right? Because we had prepared. We had our liquor there, okay? I take
legally
a big gulp of what you handed me. You had mixed my Sambuca with orange juice.
Oh my god!
With a Sunny D.
It was Sunny D.
I do remember this night.
Oh my god, that's even worse.
I had it in the quad.
Oh my god!
And I would pour a Sunny D into the solo cup. That was the worst beverage I have ever consumed. I would take the pickle beer over that Sambuca Sunny D. It's not even a screwdriver. It's a jackhammer. I don't know.
I would empty a tube of toothpaste. I would empty a tube of toothpaste into my mouth and drink orange juice before I had Sunny D and Sambuca like you handed me.
I want to say, because I was still living on the far end of the hall at the time, I want to say it was earlier in the year, right?
Like, it was.
It was very early. Yeah.
I remember hearing the uproar, like
because
coming to investigate.
Was just like, Keegan, what the hell did you give me?
I swallowed it, and there was a second of me going, "Did something happen to me,
mommy?"
Listen,
I've been poisoned by my constituents.
my mixing skills have gotten a lot better.
I love playing bartender these days.
Those were
I really do.
Oh, it's great. Listen, though, it makes for a fantastic story, Keegan. I'm thankful that you poisoned me that night.
Well, I wish you would have died when I poisoned you. I'm gonna be honest with you.
We all got poisoned. There was at least one point that year.
I do.
One of us all got poisoned at some point.
Hey, I mean, I'm gonna yak. Shut it off. Shut it off. I'm gonna yak.
Well, I remember when it was me, Nick, and Greg getting drunk in my room freshman year, and I remember you coaching Nick through drinking water, Keegan. And you were
Did
like,
I
okay,
really?
yeah, you were. I remember he was sitting in his chair with his head in the trash can. And you're like, all right, Nick, 3, 2, 1, we're gonna do a sip of water. And Nick, he would take a sip and go, let's go. And I remember I wrapped his pillowcase in trash bags for him. I took care of
You're
him.
the best. You're the best.
Papa Donny.
That's what I do.
Papa Donny.
I still, to that day, like, I think that's the reason why I can't drink liquor out of shot glasses anymore.
Yeah.
Because I remember that was the first time I ever got like drunk. And I remember we just lined up like we had the solo cup mini shot glasses, and we just lined it up and filled it with vodka that Greg had. No clue what it was.
Good.
It was in an unmarked water bottle that he brought from home.
Oh, so that means it really could be anything.
It could have been anything.
To be fair, that it was an unmarked water bottle that Keegan took the Sambuca out of. But you could smell it from a yard away.
No, it's Luke's fault. So at the end of the day, what Luke is saying, he is to blame. He is to blame.
Nope. No, not true. Not true. We'll leave that. That's the question of the day.
Is it
we'll leave
Luke's
it up
fault?
to the listeners. Is it Luke's fault or Keegan's fault that I was poisoned?
So, anyway, with my story though, like, I don't know if you guys, like, I explained this to you guys in college. Like, I can't do shots out of shot glasses. Like, I have to have it in a bigger glass. I can't do it in something small.
Holy crap.
And it's like, it's a mental thing. It's really weird.
Very interesting. That's very interesting.
Because like,
so it's not the liquor itself that's the issue.
No, it's the glass.
Receptacle.
Yeah, the receptacle psychs me out. And I got very nervous because Sophie and I ordered Boilermakers a couple weeks ago at a bar, and they served it to me. It was like a Hefeweizen and a shot of peach soju, and they gave it to me in a Glencairn glass. And I got really nervous. And I'm like, did I do this?
Donnie, do you just get psyched out? So here's the thing: like, if the shot glass is empty, it's still intimidating you. Like, is it like I showed to you, you're just gonna scream kind of thing?
No, because I own shot glasses and stuff. Like, it's very weird.
He just has to close his eyes.
It's not even, I just think it's because, like, I don't think I can get it all in like one quick gulp is why. Like, I think it's the opening is too small. Like, if I'm like doing shots with people, I will just like get like a solo cup or like a normal glass and just like pour a shot into there and do it.
That's very interesting, Donnie.
And we'll leave it on that.
You might.
Yeah, we'll leave that with the people to ponder. So we'll leave them with that. It was Luke's fault that he was poisoned.
No, not true. Slander.
And that Donnie can't drink out of shot glasses.
Maybe I have to go to like hypnotherapy or something.
Yeah. Can you imagine the other issues that the hypnotherapist would have with you if you came to them because you couldn't take alcohol the same way that everybody else can? I want to fix my drinking.
You just got to go to G5 broomball games. You'll get hypnotized.
No, hypnotized. I think I finally got rid of those shorts.
That's a disappointment.
They don't fit anymore. Thunder thighs are a little too big these days.
They're thundering more than usual.
They're rumbling.
They're rumbling, tumbling, stumbling, bumbling.
They're
bumbling.
Category 4 hurricane thighs.
Like the bee's knees.
Did you guys know there was an earthquake in New York last week?
When you weren't there?
In like New Jersey. Yeah, it was felt in Manhattan.
They felt it in New Hampshire. Like, I knew people who felt it.
You felt it, you dealt it. That's what I always say.
All right. Keegan's feeling it. This has been our show.
The one to end on.
Yeah.
That's the one to end on.
Good night, everyone. And we'll see you to talk about brown.
Dealt it.
We'll be here to talk about brown ales next week.